Refresh Quest has been exploring the Mother Lode region of California, taking in the sight, sound, and smell of this beautiful land, and even meeting a few of the locals to help us learn about the past, the present, and the future. Traveling on the same historic path as so many have done before us, with the intention, hopes, and dreams of finding and experiencing a bigger-than-life adventure.
People that come to this area are so blown away by the amount of artifacts that we have and the fact that it's all local, it's all here, it's all been here since the gold rush. And again, I think everybody that lives here has to be a bit of a pioneer. They've got a little bit of that pioneer spirit, that little pioneer blood in them.
This was a dream place, so there's that element, human element of the dream that takes people to do things and cross oceans and climb mountains. But I think it circles back to this sense of, seeing the elephant.
They've had big struggles, big adventures, and they called it seeing the elephant. And now this place is rich with history and even elephant history. I still can't believe it.
And to just think how a few flakes of gold back in 1849 set the wheels in motion for an event, totally transforming, redefining, and opening gateways to a whole new world. Now, are you ready to see the elephant? Let's go. Refresh Quest is the search for refreshing travel experiences that aim to uplift and inspire while having a lot of fun along the way. Are you ready to refresh? Then let's go. With a team of like-minded friends, Refresh Quest invites you along the journey as we explore beautiful and unique destinations, meet passionate individuals, and gain empowering knowledge that dares to welcome new realities and refreshing possibilities. Adventuring never felt so good. I'm your host, Jeremy Maupin, and this is Refresh Quest. Quartz lode gold, high on the western slope of the Sierra Nevada mountains, made its way down into the valleys, hillsides, and rivers, and into the pans and then pockets of placer miners coming from all over the world in 1849. The excitement was far-reaching and fell into every corner and crevice as tens of thousands of hopeful dreamers came to experience and see the elephant. Oh my goodness, look at this! Look at this, I got gold! I got gold in my pan! Woo-hoo! Mother Lode! Seeing the elephant had become a metaphor for gaining knowledge and experience of the world, overcoming great obstacles and feeling high excitement of taking on something bigger than life. Because back in 1849, what could be bigger than life than striking it rich in gold? Today, Refresh Quest is traveling that same trail as those hopeful dreamers back in 1849, learning about the past, embracing the present, and looking forward to the future. Using California 49, the Golden Chain Highway as our guide map, we headed south from San Andreas, California, stopping whenever and wherever we could, taking in the sight, sound, smell of this beautiful historic land. State Route 49 was named honoring the 1849ers in 1934, stretching for 295 miles, following many historic mining communities, far too many to explore in just one day. But with a bit of extra time before a scheduled appointment in Angels Camp, we dared to push on past Carson Hill, took in the view overlooking the new Maloney's Bridge, flipped a coin that took us right into Jamestown, where we discovered a brief but comprehensive blacksmithy replica museum of 1875 at Roca Park. Back on 49 South, we made it as far as the Merced River near Coulterville, California, before realizing we had to make a U-turn and begin our journey back, but not before stopping at the ever so much fun Columbia State Park. Once a busy, bustling gold rush town, Columbia State Park is now a sightseeing flash to the past, with something for everyone, surrounding and showcasing this important period of time in history. Jonathan and I gave ourselves a mission to find the perfect spot to commemorate our moment in this special place and time. This old wagon would do just fine. And with just a hop, skip, and jump away, we were back in Angels Camp, California, where we came to learn a lot more about the history of this area. We are in Angels Camp, and a lot of gold mining took place in this town. This was one of the main hubs of the gold rush back in 1849. And now this place is home of the famous frog jump. Mark Twain had come here and wrote about it, made it really famous. I never knew a frog could jump 20 feet. To explore in more depth this fascinating history, we hopped one more time over to the Angels Camp Museum, where the primary focus is on the gold rush of 1849. Here you'll find and learn about the origins of the famous jumping frog jubilee, held every third weekend in May. The museum is 3 acres, located on the original land claim of the Angels Mine. We began our journey at the Carriage House, where you'll find one of the largest displays of carts, carriages, and wagons in the nation. Joining us was Museum Director Martin Huberty to give us a detailed guided tour on these incredible horse-drawn technologies of the past. So many amazing examples to focus on, but a few of our favorites included a yellow water wagon, a very elaborate hearse, a charming dairy carriage, and a stagecoach believed to have carried Mark Twain himself. Other historic interests were the stagecoach bear fur jacket, a very old movie projector, and a wonderful display of local Native American Miwok baskets, hundreds of antique bottles, and a fascinating part of the gold rush, artifacts from Chinese 1849ers who also came to California in the search for gold. A local bar counter dating to 1872. Bottoms up, gentlemen. And then there's Old Beth, a steam tractor engine from 1903, parked right out front, inviting everyone to come see.
So these wagons are so amazing to me, and they're very primitive and simple, but they brought a lot of technology here to the Mother Lode. You can imagine these massive pieces of equipment on these, and it would take 26 horses to bring these pieces of equipment as far away as San Francisco. And unfortunately, we only have, well, I would say 2 wheels, but it's really 1 3/4 wheels left. But they literally just took the section of tree and then put the iron around it and served as tires. But pretty impressive on just the ingenuity and engineering of pulling these things together.
Back outside, Martin took us around the property to show us examples of the then modern technology used back in the day.
This is an old monitor for hydraulic mining, and you can imagine the amount of water that would blast, and you'd literally wash hills away to get to the gold. This powerhouse was built in 1899, and I believe it's the 4th oldest powerhouse west of the Mississippi, and it generated all the mines in the area. And as I was saying, you're standing on the Angels Quartz mine. So this big wheel was actually constructed here. The flume would come down the hill that actually the water would power this wheel, again, to provide power for the gold mine.
With one building left to explore, we headed over to the mining and ranching exhibit, where inside we found tools and artifacts that told stories of dreams and gold from long ago.
Jeremy, this is one of my favorite pieces in the whole museum, and it doesn't look like much, but I just love the ingenuity. It's actually a miner's chair. Somebody during the gold rush who made it. It's made out of a dynamite box upside down and a sugar sack burlap back, which, hey, that's Calaveras County for you. This is a model of a stamp mill, and this stamp mill was actually located in a town called Melones. It was called New Melones, and they called it Melones because Melones are Spanish for melon seeds, because all the little gold nuggets they found originally in this area were just the size of watermelon seeds. Ultimately, it was a mill that was built to crush the ore that was brought out of the earth. So the gold is in the ore, and these shoes would be raised and then dropped to crush the ore, and that's one of our favorites. What I love about this map is it just goes to show you the Mother Lode vein, and this vein is obviously the same line practically as Highway 49, which were all the miners' roads that connected the whole Mother Lode. But there are over 20 miles of tunnels underneath us in Angels Camp. And when I was showing you the powerhouse, this is why so much power was needed, because there were so many gold mines here. And actually, if you look back at the Carson Hill mine as you're coming in to Angels Camp, that was the richest one. A gentleman who found that was Gabriel Steveno, and when he discovered this mine, the hill at the time, there was a piece of gold that was as big as a man's forearm that was sticking up out of the ground, and that was the Carson Hill mine, and they took $26 million out of that mine during the day. Jeremy, when you hear that the streets are paved with gold, this is an actual piece of pavement that came out of Angels Camp, out of the sidewalk, and you can see the quartz here, and you can see the gold in it. Goodness. See the gold in here?
Yeah.
Isn't that incredible? And you can actually see gold here, wow. Gold here.
Now, was it just because there was so much of it, they just started putting it in the sidewalk?
Uh-huh. Just using it to get out of the mud.
At what point did people in the modern day realize there was gold and start chiseling?
I don't know. I honestly don't know, but I think I probably would have been chiseling it myself.
Right. This is a beautiful piece right here.
Isn't that exciting?
Yeah. That's incredible. Wow.
People that come to this area are so blown away by the amount of artifacts that we have and the fact that it's all local, it's all here, it's all been here since the gold rush. And I think that's incredibly special. I think people appreciate what we have here and our natural spaces. And again, I think everybody that lives here has to be a bit of a pioneer. They've got a little bit of that pioneer spirit, that little pioneer blood in them. And funny enough, a lot of people believe that it's the gold.
Taking a detour off State Route 49 and heading east onto California 4, we headed deeper into the Sierra Nevada foothills for Murphy's, California. This new diggings area of the Mother Lode is just as scenic as the rest, but with one noticeable difference: vineyards. Vineyards. And more vineyards. And although much has changed since 1849, some things have stood the test of time, like the Murphy's Hotel built in 1856, where we stopped in to check out the hotel registry to find famous names like Mark Twain and notorious names like Black Bart. Just up the road is the enchanting and beautiful grounds of Ironstone Vineyards. There is so much to experience here, including an amazing colorful display of spring tulips greeting you at the front entrance. But today, we came to see the gold and learn about 49er history in their on-site Heritage Museum, where you'll find some very special specimens. So we dove straight in with a conversation with the best person to talk about our inquiry here at the Vineyard, the Director of Community Relations, Conrad Levasseur.
My name is Conrad Levasseur, Director of Community Relations and Development, concierge here at Ironstone. And we're in Murphy's, California, in the foothills of the Sierra. It all started down in Lodi with John Couts. He graduated from Lodi High School in 1948. Said all I wanted to be is a farmer. He started off with 12 acres, now has over 8,000 acres. But it's absolutely beautiful here right now, just because everything is in full bloom. You expect to see little leprechauns or goblins jumping out of bushes or anything. I mean, no matter what time of year, it's beautiful here, but this time is especially beautiful just because the weather is so picture perfect.
Yeah. What brought you up here? And when you came here, did you notice that right away about the area, how beautiful it was? And you're like, this is so scenic and serene.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, my hometown's Boston. I moved to San Francisco when I finished college. The short story is I wound up getting, in the summers, licensed as a wild river rafting guide in the western states. And so I came up here because I would do the Stanislaus River before the Maloney's Dam went in. I did the Tuolumne out of Yosemite. And so we were living in San Francisco. By that time, I had 3 young kids. Loved the city, but I really was just time to get out of the city. Yeah. And with the High Sierra, an hour's drive up in the High Sierra, you got the biggest snowpack historically right now, so a lot of good skiing, then hiking, backpacking, camping, boating, fishing, hunting, whitewater rafting, caves to explore, antique stores, boutiques sprouting up, good restaurants going, the respected wines. Yeah. So, I mean, I think I had an inkling of that, and John Couch definitely had a vision of the possibility, you know, in terms of he knew at some point this would be a magnet for people to come into this area, yeah.
That's amazing. He was a visionary.
He was a visionary, absolutely. Yeah.
This area has an incredible history in the gold rush.
Yes. The Murphy's family from Ireland, there were 25 of them in one of these wagon trains, and they were the second to come over the Sierra. So this would be pre-1848, before the gold had actually been found. So John and Daniel, the 2 Murphy's brothers, basically came up here, it would be in 1847, to Murphy's.
Is it true that they found most of that gold right behind the Murphy's Hotel?
They found it, I mean, this is just all over the place. I mean, there's all kind of mining shafts that were created and everything here. And just timing-wise, they got out of it at a perfect time. You mentioned the seeing the elephant.
Yes.
And it got me thinking about what that really meant. And so part of it was to see something that was unusual and awe-striking. Back in those days, Africa was unknown. When a circus came in town, I remember as a kid, you know, and the big deal was to see the elephants. But in relation to the gold rush, it had a double meaning to me, and that was a sense of excitement, exhilaration, and moving west, really taking on doing something that's unusual and challenging in your life.
Yeah.
And for many people, even though they didn't make the money with gold, it was a life-changing experience. But this was a dream place, a place where people got to fulfill their dreams. And I think people did, but in all kinds of ways. So there's that element, human element of the dream that takes people to do things and cross oceans and climb mountains. Yeah. But I think it circles back to this sense of, you know, seeing the elephant.
This winery has so many amazing things. In the museum, there's a very special piece of gold. Tell me what you know about that piece of gold.
This is basically found in Sonora Mining Company over in Jamestown, set up alarms on the conveyor belt. They thought it was brass shim stock, potentially endangering the machinery because everything had shut down. They get out to remove it and they're shocked to find this amazing piece of gold embedded in a quartz matrix. The crystalline leaf gold is the most delicate of the gold structures. I think of like a Van Gogh painting or the equivalent. When you look at it as an art object, then the price just gets higher and higher. When people say, how much is it worth? I think it's priceless. France wanted to buy it, put in the National Museum, the Louvre. But I mean, it's John's pride and joy, and he really feels it belongs here in the foothills. It's a part of the whole history.
Seeing this enormous 44-pound jaw-dropping gold leaf specimen gave us a sense of what it must have felt like to catch the gold fever back in 1849. But today, we have come to understand that fever has been redefined, encompassing a symbolic gold of the area itself and everything in it. And so as we headed back into San Andreas for our final stop, we began to realize that the phrase seeing the elephant was about to come full circle. Okay, Jay, we've been all over the Mother Lode. Now, the real question.
What's that?
Are you ready to see the elephant?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it.
Go. Welcome to Paws Ark 2000, a wildlife sanctuary dedicated to the protection of abused, abandoned, and retired performing animals and captive wildlife since it was founded in 1984 by co-founders Pat Derby and Ed Stewart.
Feels like we're in Jurassic Park, dude.
Yeah.
These big giant fences and then, whew.
It feels like we're about to see T-Rex.
Yeah, I hope not.
Paz invited us onto the sanctuary for an educational show and tell, where we were able to learn about this special place right here in the heart of the Mother Lode.
My name is Brian Busta. I'm sanctuary manager. I've been here 27 years.
I'm Dr. Chris Draper. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at the Performing Animal Welfare Societies. We're here at the area where we house 3 bears. Mac was, unlike a lot of the animals that we have here, Mac was actually found in the wild. He was either orphaned or abandoned and was found coming up to people seeking food, we presume. And it was noticed that he had a missing foot. And again, we didn't know whether that was an injury or something he was born with, and it's most likely something that he was born with.
Oh, wow.
And that may have led to the fact that he was abandoned by his mother or got left behind. But he copes remarkably well with it. He gets about just as you'd expect a normal black bear to do. Doesn't hold him back. He's here with us for the rest of his life. This is a place of sanctuary, a place of safety. We don't ask him to do anything, and he just gets to enjoy as natural a habitat as we can make it, where he can keep himself busy by foraging. Keeping him busy and occupied is our job, and his job is to just stuff his face.
Yeah, that's awesome. Tiger enclosure. Let's check out the tigers.
Almost all the tigers we've received have come from breeding facilities, malnourished, fighting, and not trusting of people. So when we get to see them come out here, sleep in the grass, and not worried when there are people around, even strangers, observing them from a distance, we know they've kind of more of where their personality should be. We do everything that we can to keep it stress-free, even from introducing tigers to new habitats, to new areas, to when we bring new animals in and introducing along fence lines, to try and keep that stress as minimal as possible so that it's easy for them to just to live their life as best they can.
The sanctuary is home to bears, big cats, and just up the road and around the bend, an animal that has been at the center of our adventure since we began, elephants. Taking a time out from doing what he does best, taking care of the animals, is Ed Stewart. No one knows more about this special work than Ed, for he is the one that helped build it when it was just a dream 25 years ago. Ed took us up to a quiet spot where he often comes to sit and ponder while overlooking the full picture of this golden dream turned reality.
Pause began in 1984. Pat Derby and I wanted to be advocates for animals that are in captivity. We didn't really plan on having a sanctuary, but in 1986 we got our first elephant, and that was, whether you think you're having a sanctuary or not, you have a sanctuary for life. And this place we bought in 1999. We had no money. We had no way of paying for the, I don't know how Pat did it. She was the most optimistic person I've ever known. The best, by far, the best animal person I've ever known. And it's a good thing because I was kind of the leveler, you know. And so we made a great combo. You know, we did it. It's paid off and it'll be preserved forever. The whole property is 2,300 acres. They have a lot of choices here. You know, you try to replicate their life that they would have in the wild, but the things that you can't give them are family, or their right social life. And I mean, this is one of the biggest places in the world for elephants, but you know, relatively speaking, it's still captivity, you know, with fences. So yeah, you do what you can. You know, they can graze, they can go in a pond, they can get in a mud hole, they can go up and down the mountain. So yeah, we've given them a lot more than they had, for sure.
Yeah. Part of the theme for this particular episode is seeing the elephant. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about that. Tell me about being in a place like this with the gold rush having that theme and then incorporating it in today's, what we're seeing here today.
Well, the miners had a phrase, seeing the elephant. You know, I've been to see the elephant. They've been gold mining. They've had big struggles, big adventures, and they called it seeing the elephant. It was a coincidence. When we came up here, we thought, my God, this is perfect. So now we have people come up and they can explore the gold rush area. They can also come and see the elephants for a day and have a real elephant experience. And it's kind of ironic. And there used to be woolly mammoths up on the the hill here. It's rich with history and even elephant history. I still can't believe it.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Jonathan and I spent the rest of the afternoon trying to wrap our minds around the enormity of what we were seeing. Nothing like seeing an elephant up on these grassy hills right here in Calaveras County. Beautiful sight, incredible. Thanks to dedicated people like Ed Stewart and Pat Derby, these animals now get to live out the rest of their lives with dignity and peace.
I love you. I love you. That's her happy flap. When she's flapping her ears like that, it's very happy.
Our journey to the Mother Lode of California began as so many hopeful 49ers did back in 1849, with high expectations and excitement to experience an adventure of a lifetime. And now that our journey has come to a climactic end, I can truly say with every sense of the phrase, I have seen the elephant, and this makes me and Gypsy very happy. Thank you, Ed Stewart, for doing what you do. Elephants. Hi, elephants. This is so cool.